India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Next round of hostage release announced. 6 hostages, including Arbel Yehud, will be released this week. Israel allows Gazans to return home in the north. Colombia caves in after US threatened tariffs and other measures, agrees to accept deported citizens sent on US military aircraft. Today marks the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland. EU chief says Europe will never forget the victims. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko wins a 7th term in office. West denounces poll results. EU says will maintain sanctions against Belarus. South Korea submits preliminary report of Jeju plane crash to UN Aviation Agency and authorities of US, France and Thailand. In Women's Spanish Super Cup, Barcelona beats Real Madrid 5-0 to clinch 4th consecutive title. Tensions in West Asia continue to evolve as the recent developments in the Israel-Gaza conflict and surrounding regions signal a shift in diplomatic efforts. Following successful negotiations, more hostages are set to be freed this week under a ceasefire agreement. In a move towards de-escalation, Israel also extends its military deal with Lebanon. We get to more details in this report. In the ongoing efforts to secure peace, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced on Sunday that 6 more hostages will be freed this week as part of a continued ceasefire agreement with Hamas. The hostages' release is a significant development in negotiations that have already seen many captives freed since last month. The hostages will be released in 2 groups. 3 will return to Israel on Thursday and another 3 on Saturday. Among them is Arbel Yehud, who had been expected to be freed earlier but was delayed. Yehud's release, alongside that of Agam Berger, a soldier, marks a critical step in the process.
For us, it's one long day since October the 7th. And in this one long day, what keeps us is the big hope and faith that they will come back to us healthy, and that's what keeps us alive and keep us in focus.
On Saturday, 4 Israeli female soldiers, Karina Ariev, Daniela Gilboa, Nama Levy and Liri Albag, were freed after being held captive by Hamas for months. Their release was made possible after a deal saw 200 Palestinian prisoners freed in exchange. Families of the hostages expressed their gratitude, thanking US President Donald Trump for his involvement in their loved ones' safe return.
A very special thanks goes to President Trump for his unwavering support. Because of your powerful actions, we have our lives back. You made this deal possible after so many months where it felt like all hope was gone. Our hope rests with you for all of the hostages to return.
The role of the U.S. in these negotiations continues to be a focal point. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, in his first call with a foreign official since taking office, spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu on Sunday. The United States reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring Israel's security as part of its border strategy to maintain stability in the region. Meanwhile, Israel-Lebanon deal is also extended until February 18th, which was about to expire. Under the 60-day deal, the Lebanese army was to deploy alongside UN peacekeepers in the south as the Israeli army withdrew. United States would negotiate with Israel and Lebanon for the return of Lebanese prisoners captured since October 7, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel. Aarti Rana's report, TD India. Colombia on Monday backed down and agreed to accept repatriated citizens on military flights after President Donald Trump threatened major sanctions. Following the tone down, the Trump administration said it will suspend planned tariffs and more sanctions. The U.S. had also threatened that tariffs on all Colombian goods coming into the U.S. will go up to 50% from 25% in 1 week. A travel ban and visa revocations on Colombian government officials has also been reportedly lifted off. The US president declared illegal immigration a national emergency and imposed a sweeping crackdown since taking office last Monday. He directed the US military to help with border security, issued a broad ban on asylum, and took steps to restrict citizenship for children born on the US soil. All right, for more on this, we're joined in by our correspondent Anil Thomas. Anil, there was love lost between Colombia and the US, but eventually in the developments that followed, we saw backtracking by Colombia. What do you make of the reasons for this?
Well, good morning, Preeti. Very much on the expected lines, and it gives more teeth to Trump administration and Trump himself when it comes to flexing his muscles. Remember, Colombia, as compared to Mexico, who Trump in his presidential address and also in his pre-election campaign had indicated that Mexico, Canada and China will be the countries which will see impositions or tariff impositions in the range of 10 to 60%. But having said that, there are close to 4 lakh immigrants who are illegally staying in the United States of America from Mexico, as compared to roughly around a little less than 2 lakhs from Colombia. Colombia is South America's strongest ally that the US has. Huge trading partners, purely in terms of roughly around 23% of coffee that comes into America comes from Colombia. Along with that, there are many other things, textiles, crude that comes from Colombia. So Colombia is an important partner. This particular flexing of muscle against Colombia came as a surprise, and the buckle down was almost on expected lines, considering that tariff versus tariff doesn't work, especially when you're taking on a superpower like America. And I think better sense prevailed before things got out of hand. Pedro there deciding that he's also offered to send his presidential plane to get the immigrants or the illegal citizens in America, Colombian citizens, back to Colombia. And this buckle down was very much on expected lines.
All right, so this was on expected lines, but for benefit of our viewers, Anil, help us understand the relationship between US and Colombia, because such drastic sanctions and steps being initiated by Trump administration and then making Colombia backtrack on its own stand. Get us more as to how do we see the US-Colombia relationship and also the days ahead.
Well, let's first look at the South American continent, and the closest ally that US has is Colombia. As compared to Mexico, Colombia and America have worked on many issues, especially when it comes to trade, diplomatic, also when it comes to trafficking and drugs in particular. The Colombian drug cartels are always known. In terms of trade, close to 60 billion is the trade between Colombia and the United States. And it's one of the largest partners from the South American countries that trades with America. And the trade deficit is somewhere on the heavier side when it comes to United States having an advantage of close to 3 billion when it comes to trade. That's purely the trade part of it. But the significance of touching Colombia came as a surprise to the world. Because, the first instance of any country in the South American continent that would have been affected, that everyone was anticipating, was Mexico in terms of tariffs and also in terms of getting their illegal people out from the United States of America. And in terms of numbers too, it's a shocking number. I said close to 4 lakh illegal citizens from Mexico in America, as compared to roughly around 1,95,000 from Colombia. So this came as a surprise move. And I think it's got to do somewhere with a calculated move that the Trump administration has taken. And I think they have succeeded. This particular buckle down or caving in by the Colombian president, Pedro, clearly indicates that Trump will believe that, he could have his way. And this could lead to, further flexing of arms that America and the Trump administration will do in the coming days. But purely in terms of more than the trade part of it, the tariff part of it, it was that travel imposition, no more visas being issued for Colombians to enter America, which would have come as a bigger drawback for the Colombians, and it would have affected trade very badly there, because the season is high, and it could have affected their business trade imbalance, which would have gone very heavily. And to find a new market at such a short time, especially with regards to the product that need to be exported from the country, would have been difficult for Colombia. And I think this particular buckle down clearly puts Trump, brings all smiles to Trump. It's a push that's come to a shove, and I think Colombia rightly deciding to buckle down and accept the terms of what United States and Trump administration has to decide.
All right, does this also set a precedent for other nations? Because you talked of how Trump announced strict action for China, for Mexico. Does this also set an example for other countries? Because this gives more teeth, Colombia's backtracking gives more teeth to Trump administration 2.0, isn't it?
Well, unpredictability is the middle name of Donald Trump, if one may say so. Take the liberty to say so, because, he could do anything on the table. And I think every country worth its salt who's got some or the other linkage with the United States, purely in terms of trade, purely in terms of diplomatic, purely in terms of strategic relations, would be having plan A, plan B, plan C, even plan D on the table, because the way Trump administration has decided, but there are many softer stance that he's taken. Many expected him to, in his first presidential signing, to have a major announcement on tariff. But he's looked at setting his house in order within America before looking at flexing his arms. This is the first big call that he's taken purely in terms of tariffs and how he's going to deal with Colombia. And I think that gives other countries jitters. Purely, how would Canada look at it? How would, for that matter, China and also Mexico look at it? Because China has said that if you're going to impose tariffs on, we're going to come back with more tariffs on America. So it's China is in a win-win situation here. They wouldn't lose much, but for Mexico and Canada, this could be big trouble. And I think not only that, any country that's having trade or trade partners has with the United States of America will be getting jitters for the simple reasons. There are many countries that have illegal immigrants in United States of America, countries like Honduras. So they could all be getting jitters, because what Trump administration can do in the next moment is something that would even catch the people of America by surprise.
All right, Anil, thank you so much for joining in with those details. Meanwhile, Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration expanded over the weekend, with several federal agencies carrying out respective operations in different parts of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers and other federal agents conducted arrests in Chicago on Sunday. A Justice Department official said the first arrest in Chicago involved an immigrant living illegally in the U.S. who had killed a 19-year-old woman while driving under an influence. While in Colorado, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration detained around 50 undocumented migrants, many reportedly linked to Venezuela's Tren de Aragua gang. The arrests were made during a raid at a makeshift club in Adams County on Sunday. The operation, conducted in collaboration with federal and local authorities, also led to the seizure of drugs, weapons, and cash. Also in Puerto Rico, the enforcement, with the support of Homeland Security, raided building targeting undocumented migrants. They also made arrests in Puerto Rico's San Juan and outside a Home Depot in Tucson, Arizona. Meanwhile, over 1,000 migrants, including several Venezuelans, embarked on a journey from the southern Mexican town of Tapachula towards the United States on Sunday, even after several had their appointments to seek asylum cancelled following the inauguration of Donald Trump. Migrants say their appointments should be rescheduled and be given an opportunity to enter. They added that earlier they had permits to travel, but post-Trump's crackdown orders, they are left with no option but to travel by foot. Reacting to the whole crackdown operation, the White House border czar Tom Homan said that the public should expect more arrests in the coming weeks. Tom Homan added that the operation was focused on individuals deemed a national security or a public safety threat. Asked whether immigration and customs enforcement officers would be entering typically off-limit spaces such as schools and churches, Homan said it would be determined on a case-by-case basis.
If you're in the country illegally, you're on the table, because it's not okay to, violate laws of this country. You got to remember, every time you enter this country illegally, you violated a crime under Title 8, United States Code 1325. It's a crime. So if you're in the country illegally, you got a problem. ICE officers should have discretion to decide if a national security threat or a public safety threat is in one of these facilities, then there should be an option for them to make the arrest.
You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Russian troops capture Novosilka in Donetsk, release drone footage of occupied village. The UN warns of a regional war as Congolese rebels capture Goma and thousands flee there as tensions escalate with Rwanda. Los Angeles fires near full containment as rain brings flood and mudslide risk. Trump orders FEMA review.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko is on track to extend his 31-year rule with a massive win in the presidential election. Belarus's autocrat Alexander Lukashenko, in power since 1994, with his opponents in prison or exiled, the 70-year-old ruler appeared to have won 87.6% of the vote. Lukashenko has orchestrated a ruthless crackdown on opponents since huge protests against him in 2020. This time around, the candidates picked to run against him actually campaigned in his favor. The vote took place 5 years into a wave of heightened repression in Belarus, during which time rights groups say the country has jailed more than 1,200 political prisoners. West cries foul over Belarus election as Lukashenko wins the 7th term. European politicians say the vote was neither free nor fair because independent media are banned in the former Soviet state and all leading opposition figures have been sent to penal colonies or forced to flee abroad. Polish Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski expressed mock surprise that only 87.6% of the electorate in fact appeared to have backed Lukashenko. Also, German Foreign Minister called it a bitter day for all those who long for freedom and democracy. While on Sunday, the European Union dismissed Belarus's election as illegitimate and warned of new sanctions against the regime. Lukashenko shrugged off the criticism as meaningless and said he did not care whether the West recognized the election. Russian troops have taken control of the village of Velika Novosylka in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region, the state-run TASS news agency reported on Sunday, citing the defense ministry. Drone footage released by Russia's defense ministry on Sunday shows soldiers waving Russian flags atop shattered buildings and in debris-strewn streets. This comes hours after Russia announced the capture of the town of Zelin, also in Donetsk. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky replaced the commander overseeing the defense of Pokrovsk for the third time in less than a year. Announcing the change in his nightly address, Zelensky emphasized that Drapati's leadership would unite combat operations with enhanced brigade training. Drapati replaces Major General Andriy Henatov, who shifts to a key role in training and communication. Meanwhile, Russian troops press forward in Donetsk, encircling Pokrovsk from the south and targeting supply routes, heightening the stakes in Ukraine's defense. 27th January 2025 marks the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Nazi German concentration and extermination camp Auschwitz-Birkenau. Now, this year's observance is particularly poignant as survivors, now in their advanced years, continue to bear the atrocities they endured. The Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum expects around 50 survivors to attend Monday's events. They will be joined by heads of state, including King Charles and other European royalty, Emmanuel Macron of France and German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Remembering the victims of the Holocaust, EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen said that as the last survivors fade, it is the duty as Europeans to remember the unspeakable crimes and to honor the memories of the victims. And now we get you details on Auschwitz liberation. Auschwitz was the most notorious of the extermination camps and has become a symbol of Nazi Germany's genocide of 6 million European Jews. 1 million Jews died at the site between 1940 and 1945, along with more than 100,000 non-Jews. It was created in 1940 using barracks in Auschwitz in southern Poland. Its name was Germanized into Auschwitz by the Nazis. The first 728 Polish political prisoners arrived on June 14th of that year. On January 17, 1945, as Soviet troops advanced, the SS forced 60,000 emancipated prisoners to walk west in what became known as the Death March. From January 21st to 26th, the Germans blew up the Birkenau gas chambers and crematoria and withdrew as Soviet troops approached. On January 27th, Soviet troops arrived, finding 7,000 survivors. The day of its liberation has been designated by the United States as Holocaust Memorial Day. South Korea's authorities investigating last month's Jeju airplane crash have submitted a preliminary accident report to the UN Aviation Agency and to the authorities of the United States, France and Thailand. The report said investigation into the deadliest air disaster on the country's soil remains ongoing. Investigation is focused on the role of bird strike and involving an analysis of the engines and the localizer landing guidance structure. The International Civil Aviation Organization, the UN agency, requires accident investigators to produce a preliminary report within 30 days of the accident and encourage a final report to be made public within 12 months. Congolese rebels said on Sunday that they had taken Goma, the biggest city in the east of the mineral-rich country, after a lightning advance that has forced thousands of people to flee. Rebel leader Corneille Nangaa announced the city's capture, demanding government troops surrender by 3 a.m. The rebels accused Congo of failing to ensure peace, while Kinshasa blames Rwanda for fueling conflict. As M23 fighters closed in, power outages plunged Goma into darkness. Roads were blocked and the airport rendered unusable. The UN warned the city is trapped, fearing the violence could ignite a regional war. Thousands have fled, while food and aid supplies have been suspended. Meanwhile, diplomatic ties between Congo and Rwanda are severed, escalating further tensions. The US and allies condemn Rwanda's illegal involvement, in fact, alleged involvement, which Kigali denies. Kenya's President William Ruto on Sunday called on the leaders of Rwanda and Congo to heed the call of peace as tensions in eastern Congo threaten regional stability. Ruto announced plans for an extraordinary summit by East African community leaders to address the crisis.
I call on the parties to the Luanda process on Eastern DRC and appeal specifically to my brothers, President Felix Tshisekedi and President Paul Kagame, both of whom I have had the occasion to speak to this evening, to heed the call for peace from the people of our region and the international community. We will be convening an extraordinary East African Community Summit within the next 48 hours to facilitate and to deliberate on this crisis and chart a way forward.
South Africa's ambassador to the UN, Matu Joyni, on Sunday paid tribute to 9 of the peacekeepers killed in clashes with M23 rebels in eastern Congo. Speaking before the UN Security Council, Joyni praised their immense bravery under relentless attacks and reaffirmed South Africa's commitment to promoting peace and stability in the conflict-ridden region. The tribute came during an urgent Security Council meeting to address escalating violence in eastern Congo, where M23 rebels continue to advance, threatening stability.
It is with profound regret that this meeting is taking place at a time when a number of peacekeepers have lost their lives and many others injured in the line of duty. 9 of these fallen peacekeepers are South Africans who showed immense bravery amidst relentless attacks from the M23. These attacks from the M23 are in violation of the ceasefire that was brokered through the Luanda process.
The United Nations Security Council on Sunday demanded that M23 rebel forces stop an ongoing offensive and advance towards Goma, the largest city in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, and that external forces in the region immediately withdraw. In its statement, the Security Council condemned the ongoing flagrant disregard of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the DRC, including the unauthorized presence in the eastern DRC of the external forces. It did not explicitly name the external forces, but demanded that they withdraw immediately. 3 active fires in Los Angeles neared full containment as the region receives much needed rain that has produced flood and mudslide warnings lasting through Monday. California fire data marked the Palisades fire at 87% containment, the Eaton fire at 95% containment, and the Hughes fire at 92% containment. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump issued an executive order establishing a review council to evaluate the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, stopping short of instant action to shut or reshape the country's disaster response agency. Trump called on to the council to hold its first public meeting within 90 days and submit a report to him within 180 days of the first meeting. The eruption of Mount Lewo-Tobi Laki-Laki in East Flores, Indonesia, has displaced many, prompting a large-scale recovery effort by the authorities. Around 200 families have relocated to temporary housing provided by the government, which began preparing these shelters. Now, these families were evacuated from 2 villages after the volcanic eruption caused significant disruption and posed serious safety risks. The eruption had been a significant challenge for the region, but the coordinated response from authorities has been instrumental in providing immediate relief. Floodwaters submerged cars and buildings in the western French city of Rennes as Storm Hermine reached parts of western France. The French weather service, Meteo France, warned of gusts reaching in the speed of 150 kilometers per hour with high waves along the coast of Brittany. The authorities have issued an orange alert, the second highest for 10 departments, as the storm moves northwards across France through Monday. This storm follows closely after Storm Eowyn, which recently hit Ireland and Northern Ireland, causing 1 death, widespread power outages and hundreds of flight cancellations. Storm Eowyn brings record-breaking winds to Ireland and the UK with gusts of up to 114 meters per hour. A building in Greater Manchester partially collapsed due to strong winds brought about by the storm. Over 1,000 flights were cancelled at British and Irish airports, around 20% of scheduled flights. The authorities have advised people living across Scotland and parts of northern England not to travel. In entertainment news, British actor Benedict Cumberbatch walked the carpet for his latest film, The Thing with Feathers, at the Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah. The film is an adaptation of the British bestseller Grief is This Thing with Feathers. The film features Cumberbatch playing a dad with 2 kids dealing with the death of his wife. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, marking the successful culmination of NCC Republic Day Camp 2025, Prime Minister Modi to interact with NCC cadets in the national capital. Uttarakhand all set to implement the Uniform Civil Code, making it the first state to make it a law. Mahakumbh draws over 132 million devotees ahead of Amrit Snan amid cold wave and fog.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. A quick relook at the top stories now. Next round of hostage release announced. 6 hostages, including Arbel Yehud, will be released this week. Israel allows Gazans to return home in the north. Tariff wars begin after U.S. planes deporting migrants turned back by Colombia. Washington and Bogota impose 25% tariffs on import. U.S. stops issuing visas in Colombia. Today marks the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Nazi concentration camp Auschwitz in Poland. EU chief says Europe will never forget the victims. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko wins a 7th term in office. West denounces poll results. EU says will maintain sanctions against Belarus. South Korea submits preliminary report of Jeju plane crash to UN Aviation Agency and the authorities of the US, France and Thailand. And in women's Spanish Super Cup, Barcelona beats Real Madrid 5-0 to clinch 4th consecutive title. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address the annual National Cadet Corps PM rally today at around 4:30 p.m. IST at the Karyappa Parade Ground in Delhi. A total of 2,361 NCC cadets participated in the Republic Day camp this year, which included 917 girl cadets, which was the highest ever participation by girl cadets. The participation of these cadets in the PM rally will mark the successful culmination of the month-long NCC Republic Day Camp 2025. The theme for this year's NCC PM rally is Yuva Shakti Viksit Bharat, a cultural program by more than 800 cadets showcasing commitment of NCC towards nation building will be performed on the day. Participation by 144 young cadets from 18 friendly foreign countries will add fervour to this year's rally. Over 650 volunteers from Mera Yuva Bharat, Education Ministry and Tribal Affairs from across the nation will also attend the NCC PM rally as special guests. Let's get you more on resumption of bilateral engagements with China. India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is on a 2-day visit to Beijing, during which he will hold talks with Chinese officials in the second such high-profile visit from India to China in less than 1.5 months. The resumption of this bilateral mechanism flows from the agreement at the leadership level to discuss the next steps for India-China relations, including in the political, economic and people-to-people domains. The visit of Misri, who was also the former ambassador to China, is taking place ahead of the celebrations of China's Spring Festival and the Chinese New Year beginning on January 29th, during which the country will officially shut down for a week. With an aim to give further impetus to the free trade agreement talks between India and Oman, India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal will visit Muscat starting from Monday. During the 2-day visit, the Commerce and Industry Minister will hold the 11th Joint Commission meeting with Oman's Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion Minister Qais bin Mohammed bin Musa Al Yusuf. The two leaders are expected to hold wide-ranging discussions on trade and investment and the global economic situation. The talks on India-Oman Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA, which is at an advanced stage, is likely to get further impetus during the visit. Both sides are negotiating and exploring a commercially significant, balanced, equitable, ambitious and mutually beneficial CEPA. On the sidelines, the minister is expected to meet Oman's Finance Minister and also Chairperson of the Ministerial Committee for CEPA, Sultan bin Salim Al Habsi, apart from holding interactions with representatives of Oman industry and the Indian community. The North Indian state of Uttarakhand is all set to implement the Uniform Civil Code on Monday, making it the first state to make it a law. State Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami in a statement said that UCC will bring uniformity in the society while ensuring equal rights and responsibilities for all citizens. The UCC seeks to establish a uniform and equal set of rules on marriage, divorce, succession and inheritance for all citizens in the state, except the scheduled tribes, irrespective of religion. It makes registration of all marriages and live-in relationships mandatory. The Uniform Civil Code, or the UCC Act, was notified on March 12, 2024 after presidential assent. All right, now we get you all the updates from Mahakumbh, the largest gathering of humans on the planet. The Mahakumbh has witnessed over 132 million devotees take a holy dip at the confluence of rivers Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati so far. India's Home Minister Amit Shah will visit Prayagraj on Monday to take a holy dip at the Triveni Sangam. The Home Minister is expected to meet several saints, including Shankaracharya Puri and Shankaracharya Dwarka. Meanwhile, a sea of devotees has started converging in Prayagraj for the Mahakumbh ahead of the Amrit Snan on Mauni Amavasya on Wednesday. Devotees brave cold wave and fog conditions to take the holy dip. The Mahakumbh, one of the largest religious gatherings in the world, is held every 12 years, with this year's event expected to host over 450 million visitors by end of February 26th. Uttar Pradesh government has declared the entire Mahakumbh Mela area in Prayagraj as a no-violence zone from today. The decision has been taken to ensure smooth management of the massive crowds expected at Mauni Amavasya on 29th of January. The Integrated Control and Command Centre has been activated to monitor crowd density and ensure that no excessive gathering takes place at Sangam Nose. Quick response teams have been deployed in high-density areas to handle emergencies. Mahakumbh 2025 witnessed a special fusion of Indian and Greek cultural heritage, where Penelope from Greece and an Indian national, Siddharth, decided to tie the knot during the religious congregation in Prayagraj. According to the groom, the couple decided to perform the marriage in the most authentic manner, and Prayagraj currently is the best place in the whole universe for its divine nature. The Mahakumbh is drawing visitors from around the world keen to embrace the beauty of spirituality and feel the power and magic of the vibrations. Deepika Mathur gets us more.
Many countries have come together to embrace Mahakumbh 2025 and immerse themselves in the ocean of spirituality. UK's Christopher says that Indian culture is very close to their heart, and with the help of Mohanji Foundation, they are able to embrace it.
Mohanji Foundation in generally has completely transformed my life, and Mohanji is someone who's bringing the essence, I would say, of Bharat, of India, to the world and to a global audience, particularly the messages of non-violence, unity, and coming together beyond all caste, country, religions, genders, and that case.
Belgium's Thea is making a documentary on Mahakumbh. She believes that the great festival has a lot to offer.
My first time at Kumbh Mela, obviously, and I have to say it has been very enriching.
Mohanji Foundation's CEO expresses immense pride in being able to unite the world at Kumbh.
Great opportunity for us, and I think it's also saying that we are privileged to be part of it. So it's both a blessing and a message to the world that this is a very, very important gathering, a very important occasion, and we are very happy to be part of it.
The foreign delegates believe that Mahakumbh has the immense power that transforms a person into a pure soul.
The dips are really special for me. We are taking dips at 5 a.m. in the morning, and it is really like you feel light, you feel pure, and it's really incredible.
I felt the energy, I felt the purification, I felt after the 5 a.m. dips that we go for, how the energy is, how we're colliding with the energy. And I just want to stay here, and I want to stay here longer. So we are staying till the end of February.
I feel like at home, but also it's transformative. It's kind of challenging, right? Like everyday life is. So it's a kind of intensified.
It's a privilege to meet in this space. It's different than having a retreat any other places in the world. It's very high energy, very intense, and very beautiful.
Mahakumbh is also witnessing women empowerment. The global participants are promoting local products made by women.
Women are playing a really big role in the world, especially in this Sanatanam Dharma. We need that woman touch, the motherhood that come into the Sanatanam Dharma into one all-in-one, and I find that is playing one of the biggest role.
Mahakumbh has become a powerful spiritual destination of the world, embracing wisdom, pure soul, and celebrating the culture of India.
So there you heard that many of the countries have united at Mahakumbh 2025 to bring Sanatan Dharma at the forefront, to make it more understandable for every human being present on the planet Earth, and to also feel the vibrations of Mahakumbh 2025 and the important celestial movement which is happening after 144 years, making it even more magical. With camera person Shiv Suman, this is Deepika reporting for DD India from Mahakumbh, Prayagraj.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will pay an official visit to the UAE on from 27 to 29th of January. During the visit, Dr. S. Jaishankar will meet the leadership of the UAE to review close partnership between the two countries and explore avenues to further enhance the bilateral relationship. He will also deliver the keynote address at the inaugural session of Raisina Middle East to be held in Abu Dhabi. The visit will provide an opportunity to advance the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries and add new momentum to India-UAE relationship. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India now. At least 3 landmines exploded due to a forest fire along the line of control in Poonch district on Sunday. The explosion occurred due to a forest fire that erupted in Mindhar forest of Poonch district in Jammu and Kashmir. A team was immediately rushed to the spot to douse the flames, though no damage was reported. Southern state of Kerala's Thrissur city police has inaugurated state's first AI-powered CCTV analysis system. Revolutionizing the field of video surveillance, the AI-powered CCTVs will improve accuracy and efficiency. The Indian Meteorological Department forecasts cold wave conditions over states of Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan and Punjab on Monday, whereas dense fog situation is likely to prevail in isolated pockets of northern state of Uttar Pradesh, eastern state of Odisha and northeastern state of Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura till Tuesday. Let's get you more on the Republic Day that was celebrated with great enthusiasm and pride. India's permanent representative to the United Nations, P. Harish, unfurled the tricolour at the Permanent Mission of India to the United Nations office in New York to celebrate the Republic Day. India's ambassador to the United States, Vinay Quatra, unfurled the national flag and relayed President's address to the nation at India House to celebrate the 76th Republic Day of India. Members of Indian diaspora participated enthusiastically in the festivities. Consulate General of India in Hamburg, Germany also celebrated the 76th Republic Day 2025 with pride. Around 300 members of the consulate gathered to unfurl the tricolour, united in chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai and a shared vision for a Viksit Bharat in Amrit Kal. Indian ambassador to Germany, Ajit Gupta, flagged off a car rally in Berlin to commemorate India's 76th Republic Day. Around 50 cars embarked on a route covering historic capital Berlin. Held after several years, the car rally signified growing Indian diaspora and expanding people-to-people ties, a key pillar of India's German strategic partnership. The Indian naval ship Trikand, a frontline frigate of the Indian Navy, marked India's 76th Republic Day with a special ceremony at Salalah, Oman, in Oman. The event included the hoisting of national flag and naval ensign, followed by singing of the national anthem. A guard of honor was also conducted, reflecting India's maritime strength and commitment to peace and security in the region. A quick break ahead. You're watching DD India News Hour, but after the break, Indian Army will take on Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force in the final of ice hockey at Khelo India Winter Games. R. Pragananda and D. Gukesh settle for a draw in Tata Steel Masters, share the lead with 5.5 points. We also show you a giant panda as he delighted visitors with playful snow dance at China's Luoyang Wildlife Park. break, you're watching DD India News Hour. Let's turn focus to sports now. Indian Army will take on Indo-Tibetan border police in the final of men's ice hockey at Khelo India Winter Games in Leh on Monday. The match will begin a short while from now. Earlier, Indian Army became the first team to enter the final. The defending champions warded off a stiff challenge from host Ladakh to win a thriller 2-1. Meanwhile, Ladakh enjoyed tremendous home support. They opened the scoring in the 13th minute, but Ladakh allowed 2 soft goals to let Army take control of the match. In another match, ITBP defeated Himachal Pradesh 3-1 to set a mouth-watering title clash. All right, our correspondent Abhishek Mahajan joins us from Leh. Abhishek, today is the last day when we talk of the first leg of the Khelo India Winter Games. It is very cold there, but tell us, are the spirits of the players high there?
Indeed, yes, Preeti. Indeed, spirit is high, and currently the women's final, ice hockey final, is going on between UT Ladakh and ITBP. You can see behind me, Ladakh is leading 4-0 against ITBP, and the big match, men's final, will start right after this match, ITBP and Army. And Army is the defending champion, and ITBP the runners-up, a repeat of the 2024 finals again. But yes, the seating capacity here, Preeti, is 5,000, and around 2,000, 3,000 people are here right now to watch the women's final. But yes, it's going to increase. People are waiting outside to watch the final. Waiting outside for the final, men's final, and there's a fan park also has been made, like I said in the morning also. People who will not be able to enter, a giant screen has been put for them to watch the final between Army and the ITBP. And the league match, Preeti, if you remember, ITBP had defeated Army, so it's kind of a revenge game for the Army. It will be very interesting, like we say, clash of the titans in the first leg of Khelo India Winter Games 2025.
All right, Abhishek, you've been covering the Khelo India Winter Games, the first leg of the games. Tell us more, what has been your evaluation when we talk of the participation, when we talk of the arrangements made, when we talk of, of the efforts by the government to ensure sporting talent from every corner of the country is recognized?
It's been amazing, Preeti. When we spoke with the athletes, they are happy with the arrangement, the infrastructure that has been provided to them. There have been teams, like I said earlier, 12 states, 5 UTs and 2 institution teams are part of the Khelo India Winter Games, and there are athletes who shifted to ice hockey from roller skating. There is a team of Chandigarh who is taking part in ice hockey tournament for the first time. In the skating also, they took part for the first time, and they did exceptionally well. UT Ladakh, if you talk about the medals tally also, Preeti, Maharashtra in the morning, Maharashtra was leading the tally, and now UT Ladakh has surpassed them. So UT Ladakh is leading now, Maharashtra second and Tamil Nadu third. But you got to feel for the team, the south team from the southern part of India, if you talk about Tamil Nadu, if you talk about Hyderabad, to acclimatize to the conditions and play ice hockey here, to play ice skating here. And this is what Khelo India Winter Games is all about, Preeti. Working at the grassroots level, and the enthusiasm was high, the excitement was palpable, and hats off to them. And the second leg of the Khelo India Winter Games will be played in Gulmarg, Kashmir. Ice events are being played here, and snow events will be held there. So there are 4 sports there in the second leg of winter sports. But yes, all credit to the government, all credit to the Sports Authority of India for organizing this beautiful tournament and giving the platform to the young athletes. And there are athletes, Preeti, who are part of the UT Ladakh team, who are part of the Army team here. They play for India also. And like we mentioned earlier in the report also, only 3 athletes had gone to the last Asian Winter Games in 2017. And now, first I should say, and now in next month, in February, there are 41 Indian athletes who are taking part who will be representing in Asian Winter Games. So that shows that India has been progressing in winter sports also, and that's why Ladakh is the new winter capital. And it was Lieutenant Governor of UT of Ladakh, B.D. Mishra, Brigadier B.D. Mishra, had said that he also declared in the opening ceremony that now ice hockey is the official sport of Ladakh. So it will give a lot of boost to ice hockey here, a lot of boost to ice skating here. And yes, in the coming years, the participation will increase. And yes, the government is working at the grassroots level. And who knows, I mean, we might have a lot of participation. Participation can increase by 50-60%. If it increases by 50-60%, yes, I mean, a lot of things will be achieved. What government is in fact trying to achieve.
All right, yes, the excitement is palpable as we can witness with the noise and the hooting coming from your side. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for joining in with those details. We'll come back to you again during the day. All right, in men's Hockey India League, Surma Hockey Club aim to secure a playoff spot as they face the Vedanta Kalinga Lancers in a crucial league encounter at the Birsa Munda Hockey Stadium in Rourkela on Monday. Having won both of their matches in Phase 2, Surma is building momentum with a narrow 4-3 victory over the Lancers in their previous encounter. Meanwhile, Bengal Tigers will take on Delhi SG Pipers on Monday as well. Bengal Tigers are placed third on the points table, while Delhi, who have been eliminated from the tournament, are at the bottom. The Men's Hockey India League is set to conclude this week with the final schedule to take place on Saturday. The inaugural edition of the Women's Hockey India League came to an end with Odisha Warriors lifting the title in Ranchi on Sunday. They secured a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Surma Hockey Club in the final. Rutuja Dadasao Pisal gave the Warriors the lead in the second quarter, but Penny Squibb equalized for Surma soon after. However, Rutuja found the back of the net again as the game came to a close and sealed the victory. It was a high-intensity clash right from the beginning. Both the teams contested the game in equal measure, but it was Rutuja Pisal who ensured the Warriors get hold of the glitzy trophy. Grandmaster R. Pragananda played out a solid draw with world champion D. Gukesh in the 8th round of the Tata Steel Masters on Sunday. Playing the white side of a Berlin defence, Pragananda had slightly favourable position optically, but Gukesh was always on guard to defend. It was in the early middle game that Gukesh sacrificed a pawn to get his counter play rolling, and even though Pragananda tried to make use of it, the game was always closer to a draw. Now with the draw, it is likely that both Pragananda and Gukesh will continue to share the lead on 5.5 points. Poland's record goal scorer Iwa Peyor scored twice as Barcelona beat Real Madrid 5-0 to win its 4th consecutive Women's Spanish Super Cup title. Caroline Graham Hansen, Alexia Putellas and Patricia Guerrero also got their names on the score sheet as the Blaugrana clinched their 5th Super Cup title and the first under head coach Pierre Romeo. Interestingly, Barca's men team also won the Super Cup against Real Madrid earlier this month. It is the second time that after 2023, both the men's and women's teams of Barcelona had won the Spanish Super Cup, and the first time they beat Real Madrid in both the finals. Giant panda Ling Yan frolicked in the snow, delighting visitors at a wildlife park in China's Luoyang as a heavy snow spell transformed the zoo into a wonderland. In the midst of the winter wonderland, Liang leaped, tumbled in the snow and danced with charm. All right, with those visuals, we end this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.